happened earlier. I've been so sure I wasn't scared of anything, and suddenly I was uncovering my deepest fears and anxieties. Oh, okay. Which I managed to hide completely from myself for years. By gently but consistently asking myself what I was scared of, I refused to let my mind dodge the question. Our brains are really good at keeping us from entering uncomfortable spaces. But by repeating a question rather than rephrasing it, we essentially corner our brain. Now it's not about being aggressive with ourselves. This isn't an interrogation. It's an interview. You want to ask yourself the question with sincerity, not force. Being scared of exam result, that was what I called a branch. As you develop your relationship with your fear, you will have to distinguish between branches, the immediate fears that come out during your self-interview, and the root, tracking my fear of exam results and the other branch of fears that appeared. Let me to the root. Fearing I couldn't make my parents happy. Fearing I couldn't make my parents happy. Oh, okay. The fear of fear. Okay. I learned to let go of my fear of fear. Okay. Fear of punishment, humiliation, or failure, and their accompanying negative attitudes no longer propel my misguided attempts at self-protection. I can recognize the opportunities that fear signals. Fear can help us identify and address patterns of thinking and behavior that don't serve us. Often we notice fear's warning but ignore its guidance. If we learn how to recognize what fears can teach us about ourselves and what we value, then we can use it as a tool to obtain greater meaning, purpose, and fulfillment in our lives. We can use fear to get to the best of us. We waste a lot of time and energy trying to stay in a comfortable bubble of our self-made biospheres. We fear the stresses and challenges of change, but those stresses and challenges are the wind that make us stronger. Yeah. If we can stop viewing stress and fear that often accompanies it as negative, and instead see potential benefits, we are on our way to changing our relationship with fears. When your brain shouts fear, your body can differentiate between whether the threat is real or imagined. 맞아요. Yeah, definitely. Whether your survival in jeopardy or you're thinking about your taxes. As soon as the fear signal goes off, our bodies prepare us to fight or flee, or sometimes to freeze. If we launch into the high alert fear state too often, all of those stress hormones start to send us downhill, affecting our immune systems and our sleep and our ability to heal. When you deal with the fear and hardship, you realize that you are capable of dealing with the fear and hardship. This gives you a new perspective. The confidence that when bad things happen, you will find ways to handle them. With the increased objectivity, you become better able to differentiate what's actually worth being afraid of and what's not. From the fear meditation I described above, I came away with the idea that we have 4 different emotional reactions to fear. We panic, we freeze, we run away, or we bury it. As I have buried my anxiety about my parents. The first 2 are short-term strategies while the second two are long-term. But all of them distract us from situation and prevent us from using our fear productively. In order to change our relationship with fear, we have to change our perceptions of it. Once we can see the value that fear offers, we can change how we respond. An essential step in this reprogramming is learning to recognize our reaction pattern to fear. Work with fear. I've mentioned that moms begin with growth, a process with awareness. Just as we do when facing negativity, we want to externalize our fear and take a step back from it, becoming objective observers. The process of learning to work with fear isn't just about doing a few exercises that solve everything. It's about changing your attitude toward fear, understanding that it has something to offer, that committing to doing the work of identifying and trying to shift out of your pattern of distraction every time it appears. Each of us in 4 distractions from fear: panicking, freezing, running away, and burying, is a different version of a single action, or rather a single inaction. Refusing to accept that fear, so the first step in transforming a fear from a negative a positive is doing just that. Accept your fear. To close a gap with our fear, we must acknowledge its presence. We told us to take a deep breath, and silently say, "I see you." Oh, okay, huh? Okay, to close the gap between our fear, we must acknowledge its presence. He told us to take a deep breath and silently say, "I see you," to our pain. That was first acknowledgement of relationship with fear, to breathe in and repeat, "I see you, my pain. I see you, my fear." Wow. And as we brighten out, we said, "I see you, and I'm here with you. I see you, and I'm here for you." Pain makes us pay attention, or it should. When we say, "I see you," we are giving an attention it is asking for. Just like in a crying baby needed to be heard and held. Breathing steadily while we acknowledge our fear helped us calm our mental and physical responses in its presence. Walk toward your fear, become familiar with it. In this way, we bring ourselves into full presence with fear. When you wake up to the smoke alarm going off, you will acknowledge what is happening in the moment, and then you will get out of the house. Later, in a calmer state, you will reflect on how the fire started or where it came from. You would call the insurance company. You would take control of the narrative. That is recognizing and staying in the present time with fear. 5 fear patterns. Along with accepting our fear, we must get personal with it. This means recognizing the situation in which it regularly appears. A powerful question to ask your fear, again with kindness and sincerity, as many times as necessary, is, "When do I feel you?" After my initial work with fear at the monastery, I continue to identify all of the spaces and situations in which my fear immersed. My root: fear influences my decision making. That awareness now prompts me when I reach a decisive moment to take a closer look at and ask myself, is this decision influenced by how others will perceive me? And this way, I can use my awareness of my fear as a tool to help me make decisions that are truly in line with my values and purpose. Sometimes we can trust our fears through the actions we take, and sometimes it's an action we are reluctant to take. Parents for distraction or substance from fear are established when we are young, when you're deeply ingrained, so it takes some time and effort to uncover them. Recognizing fear, parents help us to trace fear to the root. From there we can discover whether there's a truly any cause of urgency, or whether our fear can actually lead us to recognize opportunities to live more in alignment with our values, passion, and purpose. Though we are developing intimacy with our fear, we want to see it as its own entity, separate from us. When we talk about our emotions, we usually say we are that emotion. I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm afraid. Talking to our fear separates it from us and it helps us understand that the fear is not us. It is just something we experiencing. When you meet someone who gives off a negative vibe, you feel it, but you don't think that vibe is you. It's just the same with our emotions. There's something we're feeling, but they're not us. Try switching from I'm angry to I feel angry. I feel sad. I feel afraid. A simple change, okay, I'm angry, to I feel angry. Okay, I feel angry. I feel angry. I feel sad. I feel afraid. A simple change, but a profound, are because it puts our emotions in their rightful place. Having this perspective calms down our initial reactions, and it gives us a space to examine our fear and the situation around it without judgment. We can shift our fears and soaring sense of freedom. Our teachers made a distinction between useful and the hurtful fears. Between the useful and the hurtful fears. They told us that useful fear allows us in a situation we can change. It is not possible to control all external events, but if I simply control my mind, what need is there to control other things? This is detachment. When you observe your own reactions from a distance, with your monk mind making decisions with a clear perspective. Detachment is an ultimate practice in minimizing fear. Once I identified my anxiety about disappointing my parents, I was able to detach from it. I realized I had to take responsibility for my life. My parents might be upset. They might not. I had no control over that. I could only make decisions based on my own values. This is a lifelong practice. Okay. I think should it more again. This isn't a lifelong practice, but as you become more and more accepting of the fact that we don't truly own or control anything, you will find yourself actually enjoying and valuing people, things, and experiences more, and being more thoughtful about which ones you choose to include in your life. Right away, my friend went into panic mode. When you panic, you start to anticipate outcomes that have not yet come to pass. Fear makes us fiction writers. We start with a premise and an idea of fear. What will happen if? Then we spiral off, devising a possible and future scenarios. When we anticipate future outcomes and fear holds us back, imprisoning us in our imaginations. The Roman Stoic philosopher Seneca observed that our fears are more numerous than our dangers, and we suffer more in our imagination than reality. That's true. We suffer more in our imagination than reality. You can manage an acute stress if you detach on the spot. Good thing, bad thing, who knows? Oh, that's true. During my monk training, we were taught, don't judge the moment. Instead of judging the moment, we needed to accept his situation and whatever came of it, focusing on what he could control. I worked with him on first slowing everything down, then acknowledging the facts of his situation. He had lost his job, period. From there, he had a choice. He could panic or freeze, or he could take an opportunity to work with the fear as a tool, using it as an indicator of what truly mattered to him and to see what new opportunities might arise. Because he slowed down, accepted his fear, and gained clarity around it, he was able to diffuse his panic and see that fear was actually allotting him to an opportunity. Time is another form of wealth. He realized that while he had lost his job, he had gained something else and very vulnerable. Using his newfound time, he was not only more present in his kids' lives, but he also ended up getting a new, better job. Reframing the situation stopped him from draining energy negatively and encouraged him to start applying it positively. Still, it's hard to not judge in a moment and remain open to the opportunity when the unknown future spins like whirlwind through your body and brain. Sometimes in a panic and freeze responses and rush ahead of us and make it different and suspend judgment. Let's talk about something strategy to help us amid the panic and the fear. Okay. Tired. Okay, stop here for reading English person book.